Mic is muted. Let's try this again. I want to apologize. I'm hoping that I think I have a little bit of lag here. So before I get started, I want to say hi, and I did pin the share the link if you want. I do have one in the background here, and I am frozen. Hold on. Okay, I am back. I do like about StreamYard, you do you're able to get back into your live. So I hope everything is okay. I do apologize for that little glitch. I don't know what's going on. Here a couple days, my internet has been lagging. Before I let Donna Ray in, I do have the link pinned, and I will share the link again. If anybody else want to come in, but I want to say hi to a few people before we come in. And Lynn 22 QCat was first one come in, and then we have Cindy the Midge. I said hi and bye because he's about to go live too. Amanda, welcome. We have Lizzie. Welcome, Lizzie. Glad you stopped by today. And then we have Donna, which she's in the green room right now. And then we'll see who else. Rick says it is quack time. And then we have Wisecracker, welcome. And then we have Spanky said, another great day at golfing. Did you eat your sardines, Spanky? No, I'm just kidding. And then Sharon Steadfast is here, said, hey, Kelly in chat. And see if there's anybody else. And Jerry says, hey, Kelly, both of you, Cindy and you and Cindy's on now, multitasking. And then we have Isabel. So welcome. So now I'm going to bring up Donna Ray here.
I can't hear you yet.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix it.
Well, welcome.
Oh, boy. I might have to get off.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'll get off.
Oh,
And maybe if I think I fixed it, I'll come back.
All righty. Nope, you're good. Well, if anybody else want to come on, that'd be good. And other things, boy, I don't know the part of your part in your parts of the country here, but I know here it's like a swamp butt, out here hot and humid. But I think we're supposed to get cooler weather here in Missouri. But we definitely need to keep Texas, especially South Texas, in our thoughts and prayers, especially where Jeff Geezy lives. They are having a lot of rain, a ton of rain, and I think like foots of rain, like over a matter of hours, that has fallen in the Texas Hill Country. And I've seen some of the videos. It's definitely not pretty out there. So definitely keep people in your thoughts and prayers. So we'll see if Don's back. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I don't know what happened.
Awesome.
I heard you once and then I stopped hearing you, but I'm good now.
So how you been doing?
Pretty good. Been exercising a lot as usual, and I did 44 man push-ups this morning.
Oh.
in two sets of 22, but still.
Yeah.
And
I kind of took a relaxed day today.
We all need that sometimes.
I did fire up the grill. I finally got it out. I was like, I'll be kind of leery here. Is it going to be hot with some wasp in there making a nest or bees? But nope, we're good. So I made a little fire, and we had some steaks for a meal today. So it was pretty good. Other than that, all I was doing sweating.
It's a relaxing Sunday, though. I get my stuff done first thing in the morning. My exercise stuff. We all need to take a day off to rebuild the muscles.
There you go. Yeah, because I'll go back to work. This is our busy season here, this time of the year at work, where we're getting apartments turned. Fortunately for my property I work at, it's kind of slow, but still it's busy. We're constantly going up and down stairs. We have to dump the AC because we have window units sticking out the wall. So we have drain pans that we have to dump constantly. So that, you get your stair steps in, you get quite a bit of walking, even though it's a small property.
Sounds like a lot
and
of work.
And there's days I wish I just fall into the pool and just stay in the pool all day, but can't.
Yep.
So are you getting any of that smoke up there in Maine?
Yes, we are. In fact, I probably shouldn't be outside now, but it's such a nice day. Otherwise, it's really windy and the sun is out. But yes, you can smell it. I can smell it right now, the smoke from Canada.
Oh, there's another one. Hey, it's quack time.
Yay! I saw Rick in the chat, and I go, if I go on, he'll definitely be on, so I don't have to. It'll be less pressure.
There you go. I'm having
Yeah.
pork rinds.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Fried those up when I had my lunch. Heart attack chicken.
ooh, heart attack chicken. My daughter wanted steak, so I decided to fire up the outdoor Weber grill and had some steaks today. So found steaks that were discounted. They're 50 something dollars and they had them discounted under 30. So I'm like, and it was
Wow.
KC strips. I'm like, that's a deal. You can't get that.
I love
I
deals.
had
I haven't seen one here lately.
I had pulled pork, so and that was delicious too.
Donna, I have a question for you here from
Oh
Amanda
boy.
says, Donna Ray,
Uh-oh.
you never cease to amaze to inspire me. Try harder. You're amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I always like when somebody say I inspire them. 'Cause that's what it's all about, I think. They inspire me right back with their comments. Keep me accountable every day. But I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm,
here this week. Go ahead, Donna.
I was just going to say I did a Dave Mack interview yesterday. I know you guys probably already done that 100 times. I know you have, Rick. You were the first one. But it's going to air like when the show's over, I bet. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was his first.
I know.
Yeah, I had two interviews from Dave Mack, and I probably after I have this hip replacement surgery and see
Go
how
again.
once I heal, because this is going to be a different journey. I have healed on the standard diet, but I didn't heal very well 20 years ago when I almost lost my right leg to gangrene. They had to take out a bunch of tissue out of my leg, but I didn't heal like I am before this. So I'm, not looking for the surgery, but I'm looking forward to how I heal.
Yeah. Wow.
Which that's coming up next month. It's coming up quick.
Yes.
So after the surgery, you'll have to contact Dave again. Get
Yeah.
back on there. Yep.
I've never been in a hospital for anything yet.
Yeah, you're a well-oiled machine. For
Yeah, he
me,
is.
I mean, I was in a hospital for 2 weeks. This was in 2004, and I was working as an injection molding technician, process technician, and I had a call. And constantly, the company, they always, complain, because I used to work for maintenance, always complain, oh, we need to fix these machines. Well, let's shut them down and get them fixed. No, we got to keep them running. So let's let all the oil and grease and water just leak. And I had to, constantly, because you're on the go there. And I just sit down, went outside. This is before very unhealthy. This is when I smoked cigarettes and all that stuff. And I just went outside just to get some fresh air, to get, to have a quick break. No more. And I get out there, I had to come back in to get the machine going. And I went around and bam, I hit a guardrail, nick. I had a little bit of a nick. Well, it was healing, but I had to do a mold change. And fortunately, hydraulic oil and stuff got into the wound, and I didn't realize it was over with. Plus, I was living a very standard diet. I was gaining, I didn't realize I was already 300 pounds then. And plus smoking, and that now today I look back and I'm like, I feel much healthier. I feel much younger, and I'll be 48 Tuesday, and I feel much better than I did when I was like 26 or 27, whatever that was.
Right.
It's always a surprise to me how much abuse people can take. I work with people that eat duck food. They have bad habits, beer and cigarettes and all that. If I tried any of that stuff, I would be sick the same day. My body just tells me no. When things aren't right, it's like, you change or else. Other people, they can abuse themselves for decades. And then all of a sudden they realize they've fallen apart. And they go, oh, woe is me. But everybody's different. I don't have that option.
I think you started when everybody was telling you, oh, hey, you need to eat low fat. This is going to kill you. No, do this. And when you were a teenager, right at the time you were growing, you went on that heart attack diet and realized that, oh, this is something different. And that's why you got it at a very young age versus some of us. Like, I'm lucky that I started at my mid 40s. So, imagine what I'm going to feel like when I get to your age and to even in my 60s or my 70s and 80s.
He's
Yeah.
like 40 something, is he not?
Well, the other thing too is if it wasn't for this carnivore lifestyle, I never would have met anyone in this community. Really.
Well, that's true. None of us would have.
And no one would even know that I exist.
Yeah, I was looking at myself. I was thinking to myself when I discovered the community, I kind of discovered it on YouTube 5 years ago. It was started with Dr. Barry, Dr. Berg, Dr. Eric Stein. I never knew about Kelly Hogan, Homestead How. Of course, at that time, Homestead How was more on homesteading instead of carnivore diet. I didn't know, I know it's like I think ketogenic woman. I remember seeing her. Someone else at that time. Oh, some more of the keto channels is what I saw, and so I went when I decided to go keto. I also wasn't aware of that I can touch poison ivy, I can grab poison ivy and all that, and it doesn't faze me. My daughter, she can just look at it and she breaks out all over.
Picture?
No, no, and for me, I eat a bowl of raw spinach and I end up getting oxalates and the worst inflammation in my lower regions with my hip, my knees, my feet. And then
they told us
Don't
that
eat
stuff
that.
was healthy, be like Popeye.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I never understood that. They have. I remember watching Popeye. When I was a kid. Popeye was more older when I was coming around. But eat your spinach. You have Popeye with this lean, with these muscular arms, and all he eats is spinach. Then you have someone fat and round eating a burger.
Yeah, wimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, wimpy.
Yep.
And it's like, what the heck? And because if you see a lot, because like for me, I remember taking supplements, this, supplements that, or even when I was on the standard diet. And now I'm like, I'll take vitamin D, I take a fish oil, I take a magnesium, and a zinc. That's it. I used to take a whole gob of stuff, and now and sometimes I don't even take that every day.
I haven't taken a vitamin since I was a teenager.
I don't take anything. No prescriptions. No supplements or electrolytes even. At
Yeah,
this
I've never
point.
had a prescription either.
Oh, I have, but I'm not on any now.
I mean, how many people have been 30 years without going to the doctor?
I know one,
Not
maybe
many.
two. If it's in this country, one. If it's in the world, maybe two.
40 without a dentist.
Wow.
My teeth are crooked, but they're white. I don't think I do no gum problems.
I ruined my teeth by juicing years ago. Totally ruined them.
My dad was into juicing, and he used to have cavities and stuff like that. And I still have the juicer and the blender. I use that to make a parody video. I feel kind of bad in one way, but on the other hand, I feel good that I rebelled against my dad's health food. And I think it really helped me because when I think of the problems my dad had, he had glaucoma. He used to get foot fungus. He had dandruff. He had itchy skin, had all these problems. I don't have any of those things. And he had teeth issues. Don't have that. It's like, wow. When my dad was 58, like I am, he had already had problems. I don't have any. His blood pressure was always high. You should see mine. It's ultra low.
Ever since I came back from that mission trip and I decided to do the lion diet, and I was cutting, I don't think I really needed the blood pressure medicine because 2.5 milligrams, I don't even think it was really doing anything. And because I started in 2019, I had to be put on blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure was high, and then got that under control. And then when I went on the keto diet there in 2021, my blood pressure went down to where she reduced that doctor at the time, she reduced it. And then when I went carnivore, I noticed, and I did a trial, and it's like, I really don't need this medicine. I think I'm pretty good without it. But I said, okay. And he said it's totally up to you if you want to get off of it or not. I said, how about this? Why don't we just cut it in half? And I'll cut it in half, and we'll review it again. And so he just went ahead. We'll just went 2.5. Well, in June, I was just going every 4 days without it, taking one and then go 4 days. But since I finished the Lion diet, and then I decided I hadn't had no coffee, I decided to stop drinking coffee just to see how I feel. And I noticed that normally by the end of the day, if I'm not taking that blood pressure medicine, I can feel my heart pounding. I don't. Ever since I've got off the coffee. So I'm thinking maybe, and I looked on coffee because I have, it's 2 cups. I had 2 cups, but technically it's 3 cups because I had a mug, the mug size, and it's about a cup and a half. So I had 3 cups, and each cup I looked up and said, wonder how many milligrams is in a 8 ounce of cup, or like a cup of coffee, or 8 ounces of coffee. It said roughly around 95 milligrams. And I'm like, I'm wondering if maybe, because I can drink unsweet tea every now and then, it doesn't affect me. And I'm just wondering, maybe my body, since I've been carnivore, the body was getting more sensitive to the caffeine where I can't handle that much of it. And so ever since tomorrow's July 20th, Tuesday, the 21st is my birthday. I'm like, I hadn't took any blood pressure medicine, and I wake up, been taking it, do the proper way where I wake up, I'll go ahead and put the cuff on, and I'll just set the time for 10 minutes, and I'll sit there and relax in my chair, sitting up. Then I'll push that button, and one morning it was 97 over 61, 105 over 64. It stayed under probably 110. I think I started to check it in the evening, 111 over 65. So I'm like, I'm not taking no more of this blood pressure.
That's Rick's style blood pressure.
Yeah. It's a good thing you did rebel, Rick.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny. I never thought about it until recently. If I would not have done what I did, what would I be like now? Especially being tall and having heart disease and cancer in my family.
Yeah.
You'd be a hot mess like the rest of us was.
And then being poor and not being able to go to the doctor, it'd be a disaster. Even though I'm poor financially, being healthy, I think, is like being rich in other ways.
Oh, yeah.
I had to work last night till 12:30 at night rebuilding a wall where the sink fell down. And a friend of mine was like, wow, I don't know where you get all the energy from. I said, well, I know exactly where I get it from. All that high-fat food that I eat.
Yeah, I could, before, even when I was on keto, I know we used to have 1 hour lunch breaks, and now we can either take 1 hour or we have to take a minimum of a half hour. But I just eat one time a day. That's all I feel like I'm good. For me, it's working the best for me. And, I want to get a lot leaner. So I have plenty of food and fuel on my body that I can at least get. And I want to get the rest of this off. And so one meal is perfect for me. And I remember where I could just go and eat. And I know probably I'm going to go back to my standard diet days. I go to men's group. I get the buffet. I get a lot of eggs. I get the sausage and the bacon, the good stuff. But then I also get the duck food, biscuits and gravy. I stay away from the pancakes. I hate pancakes in the morning. I could not stand sweets in the morning until after I eat something. And I still don't know how I can, eat that stuff, back then, even after that. But I'd go home and I'd crash and half my day is gone. I was like, where did my day go? It's like I'd go home and I crash, and next thing you know, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm like, whoa, what happened? And it's like I was wasting my day. And then now I could just like, I'll go to work, I'll have a half-hour lunch break, I'll set the timer, and then I may decide, oh, I may just kick back and take a snooze nap. 5-10 minutes, that's it. I can't, I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how that we were told for years, eat this and eat that, and not eat this, because like, especially like red meat, like, they said, oh, red meat. And I even heard it from doctors. Red meat is, pro-inflammatory. And I'm like, if it is pro-inflammatory, why do I have less pain today than when I was on the line diet? I should be miserable. I should be hurting. I shouldn't be walking. How, and how am I walking so good like Grandpa McCoy walking around? And because I shouldn't even be walking if that's the case. And like, having heart attack chicken and heart attack duck. Oh, I never had duck, but one of these days I'm gonna have duck. And it's like, you eat this stuff, especially fried in lard or tallow. It's like, oh, you need the seed oils. It's heart healthy and all this stuff. And it's like, wow, I can have the lard. Even the worst lard at Walmart is better for you than the cleanest seed oils out there.
Yeah, it's really funny because they used to tell me that lard was bad for you. Lard will give you acne on your skin. Well, I never got acne. I'm the only teenager that never did. Lard will make your hair fall out. Well, it really did, didn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No. And then all that fat is going to clog your arteries. You're going to have a heart attack. All that meat is going to give you cancer. And then what was the other thing they used to tell me? It was something about if you eat too much meat, it makes your eyesight fail. Just all kinds of stuff.
I've never heard that one.
I guess, yeah, that was a thing for a while. And then they used to say eating one egg is like smoking 2 cigarettes. So I said, well, if that's the case, I need to have a carton a day, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because if they said that, lard, because I use a olive oil lard mix to lotion, as a lotion, because I had extra virgin olive oil that I haven't used, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just mix it with my tallow or lard. I use that as skincare products. I will put it on my legs because my legs still get a little bit flaky. I think it's because it's probably healing, but I put it on my skin. I use it as shaving cream because and it works great. I put it in my hair before I shower, and like say, I still have a lot of gray, but it's a lot thicker. But I noticing that, I don't know, maybe my hair won't go, but I noticing slowly each day I saw my hair is getting a little darker. And I don't know if it goes 100% back to my natural hair color, but if it don't, but I noticed my hair is a lot thicker, and I know some places I had a kind of a bald spot in the back that filled back in.
Wow. The other thing about putting lard in your hair, a lot of people, if they wash their hair every day, it gets brittle, and then they have all these problems. Well, you and I, anybody that works a physical job, works outside in dirt, in heat, you got to wash your hair every day, or you're going to have a miserable mess. But if you wash your hair with shampoo or soap, it just breaks it. But if you put the lard in your hair or tallow first, and then like when you're working, it kind of blends in. When you wash your hair, it doesn't strip your hair. Your hair is just fine. And I use homemade soap from lard or tallow and wood ashes. It's strong stuff. And my hair is always good. When I was younger, my hair would puff out. I'd have like these little tufts sticking up all over the place. And then when you try to comb it, it gets all twisted together. But since I've given it a steady dose of lard or tallow, I never have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to learn how to make my own soap when I'm recovering, because I'm not going to be, I got to take these, especially the first 4 weeks, but I'm going to get up, because they said when you have joint replacement, especially hip replacement, you're walking out of the hospital the same day, unless you have a underlying health condition that they may require you stay overnight. But other than that, you're whatever time I go in, I'll be going home that day. I may be on a walker. I may have to have my mom's, there's a stool lift that I may have to use for just a little bit until I get to a certain point of healing. But I'm going to get out. I'm going to get outside. I'm going to get fresh air. I'm going to step down, get into the grass with my bare feet, just to get that fresh air, because I'm not going to be sitting all day. I'm not going to be sitting in my chair all day. I'm not doing it. I want to get out. I want to, when I want to start healing, part of starting healing is also not only resting, but moving as well. So, and I want to build some soap boxes, and I want to learn to make my own soap because it is cheaper right now. I buy the beast mode soap right now. I'm stocked up, but that gets pretty pricey. And for lard, I get for the price of the beast mode soap, I can get a bucket of tallow or bucket of lard, and I mean the good stuff. Plus, I can, I could burn some wood and get the wood ash, use the wood ash, or even the lye that they use for that, soap making lye, the safe soap making lye. I could get that way cheaper than I can buy, that beast mode soap, and I could probably make a year's supply of it ahead of time, and I'm good.
I've seen people advertise that overpriced soap, and I look at that and I shake my head because I know what it costs to make soap. The trick is getting the sodium hydroxide, or you make your own potassium hydroxide from wood ashes. But once you have that, it's just a simple, reaction. You put a strong base with a fat, and it turns it into a soap. And then you cook it up in a pot, pour it into molds, and then you just have to let it sit until the reaction takes place. And once the saponification is complete, you have soap.
Yeah, that's simple, very simple, because I'm like, why am I buying? I bought it last year when I went to the Kerry Mann's meetup up there in Montello, Wisconsin, because he was the first one that was sponsored by him, and I started seeing them, and so I said I'll buy one bar to see how it does and how it feels, and then I like this stuff. I mean, it's much better because I was using it was a plant base, but it was better than some of the chemicals. It was Every Man's Jack is what you buy at the store, but still, I'm like, I want to, if I'm carnivore, I wanted to have something more on the carnivore side, and with animal fats, it's much better than plants. So, and it is much better, but yeah, do I want to continue to buy this expensive soap? Because I buy two at a time. It's like $30 for 2 bars, and I buy a bucket of grass-fed tallow for between $30 to $40. And matter of fact, I have a 7-pound pail of it extra that I ordered by accident. So I have plenty of lard. I have plenty of tallow. All I need to do is get the lye, or just make my own wood ash.
The best thing about it is you don't have to use the fresh tallow or lard. You can use the stuff that's left over from heart attack chicken or for any deep frying. It's going to be darker, but it's going to be very similar to that dark soap they used to sell. When I was a kid, the cheapest soap was called Lava, which was basically a tallow-based soap with a bunch of sand in it. And this stuff would make your hands rough, but it was cheap. So you can use the old lard that you don't cook with anymore, or the tallow. That's what I use. I don't use the new stuff. I save the new stuff for cooking. After I've cooked it up, then I use it to make soap.
That's a good idea. Like, I don't even buy deodorant. I really, I don't need to use deodorant. The only reason I do is more of a subconscious thing, but I just make my own deodorant. It's like 2 tablespoons. I even made a video on it. 2 tablespoons of tallow, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and I just reuse the deodorant things, and that they come in. The deodorant comes in, and it's like 2 tablespoons of beeswax, and then I just have a mixture of some kind of magnesium, baking soda, and zinc oxide in there, and works great.
I don't
I
even
smell
bother
like
with
I
that.
smell like a beehive.
There you go. I don't bother
Yeah.
with it. Nobody gets near enough to me to care.
Yeah, and then of course I also make, make my own lip balm, which I made a batch of it, but I
Wow.
haven't made any. I don't need none, make none in the wall because the batch you make, it makes quite a bit. So, and it's pretty much just tallow and honey. Of course, the trick is you want to keep it pliable, but when you have the honey, you have to keep on stirring, otherwise the honey settles to the bottom.
Hmm.
But other than that, that's probably the one of the few things besides medicinal purposes. If I get sick, if I know I'm starting to get sick, like I'm starting to have a sore throat or anything, I'd make like this fire water. That's about the only time I have honey. Very little, maybe now and then, time to time, I might have a little bit of honey here and there. But like, of course, for me, like some people, they can't do it because it triggers something. For me, I guess for me, I'm disciplined enough that I can have just a few drops and I'm good, and I won't even touch it. Matter of fact, I hadn't even had honey in the house probably in 6 months.
There's no honey in my house, but there is a wild beehive in the backyard. So I guess if somebody wanted some and they dared to go back there, they could probably get some.
That's how my mom, when she was growing up, that's how they got their honey. Is they go to a bee tree and they cut the tree down and then they get the honey out of the tree.
Well, that's where the bees are in my yard. They're in a gumbo limbo tree that's hollow.
Oh. A
Let's
doctor
see.
actually told me to have honey for a sore throat. He gave my husband antibiotics and cough medicine, and then the same doctor, like that same day, but not at the same appointment, said I could give you something for it, or you probably do just as well, if not better, with honey. So I
When I
did.
was a kid, I used to get terrible sore throats, but ever since I've been on the carnivore diet, I never got one. I did get it again when I got sick in '93 trying plant-based, but it's kind of interesting. I have not had one, and they used to be terrible. You couldn't swallow, it burned. You get that little white stuff in there. I don't get that anymore, and I've had all the different flus. You saw me a few weeks ago. I got the flu that lasted 3 days, and it's not so bad. But I used to hate the sore throat. That's bad.
For me, if I had a pretty, when I was a kid, I used to get sick every now and then when I got older, my immune system kind of got strong. I'm very surprised that it got strong because I was always around secondhand smoke. My dad smoked. He smoked in the house. He smoked in the vehicles and all that. And it was to the point that it choked you out. And I don't know. And I hated it. I hated smoking. And of course, my parents says, or especially my mom, you better not smoke. You better not start smoking. I don't know what possessed me to even start at the age of 19 because I hated the around it. And of course, I was over with friends that night. And of course, one of them's like, here, have a cigarette. No, I don't want it. And I'm like, all right, I'll just have one. And I realized how menthol white cigarettes could be tasty. And, I'm like, after that, it's like, oh man, this is the worst mistake. I should have not even done it. But then it got hooked. And then I smoked for 9 years and I quit for 9 years, started back. And then I quit and I went towards like what my dad quit smoking, these little snus packets. But then I got hooked on like the Copenhagen and I got up to Canada. That's what really wrecked my health. That's what caused the biggest blood pressure the mess I had because they said, well, nicotine is, good for your body. But I'm like, I think if it is, it must be very minute because other than that, to me, it hurt my body because I put too much of it in. And when I researched it and it said, yes, it will restrict your blood vessels and especially the downstairs. And I'm like, my eyes got big and it's like, there's no way age 40, I should not have this problem. And boom. And as soon as that's when I discovered I decided to quit. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to quit because I was highly addicted to this stuff. I was highly addicted to sugar. And I'm like, I'm going to quit. And I think one day I stopped at a gas station. I got a sports drink and I took the dip out of my mouth. I took the can of chew, the bottle, I threw it away. I never touched it since. And, like, for that, I just went back to did the snus. And then when COVID came around, I was about to leave the current company I was working for currently because of the manager we had. And I was about to go to I was going to go work at a hospital as maintenance because I'm like, I'm not dealing with this joker anymore. And so you have to be completely tobacco free. So so they have this non-nicotine herbal chew, which is just corn husks, but they're little pouches. And I did that, and it slowly went away. By June of 2020, I didn't even do that no more. When the car got totaled in 2022, I still had a full can of that herbal chew in the console, never been opened. So I haven't even touched none of that stuff, and I don't desire to touch it. I'm not going to say, someone, if you want to smoke your cigars, go for it. I'm not doing it because I know what happens to me. One little puff and it's over with. I'll be smoking 2 cigars a day. That's how bad my addiction. I'm just grateful that I never tried marijuana or even the other drugs.
I never
Some
did
people
either.
just have addictions. I seem to be the one that doesn't.
But now it's like I don't even want to be around. Every time I'll walk by a cigarette, someone's smoking at work or someone's driving by, I can smell it, gets in my vehicle, and I'm like, it is the nastiest smell. It's like I don't know how I can stand to be smelling like an ashtray.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I used to get car sick if anybody was smoking in the car when I was a kid. I'd get so car sick. It was
I can
bad.
smell it when I'm riding my bike.
I can smell smoke right now from Canada.
In fact, today
can.
when I went to the store, I smelled somebody smoking a cigarette. I always look around to see where they were. It was probably 300 feet in front of me, and a little bit of wind blew it. I was like, how in the world can I detect something that's like that big, a little bit of smoke, 300 feet away? That's crazy.
That's sensitive. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's one thing about Carnivore. After I've been on Carnivore, especially after a year, I noticing weird smells. Like even someone, if I'm talking or I'll be around someone that's on the standard diet, they're talking. It's nothing against nobody, but if they're talking, I can smell this unique, nasty, odor. It's like a chemical odor, and it's like none against people, but it's like my sense of smell has totally changed. Like I can like far away I can detect someone smoking, and it's like nasty. And like I can detect someone if someone's smoking weed or something like that. I can detect that, and it's like it is this pungent, nasty smell. And it's like before I'd smell it, but it's nothing like it is now. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the inflammation. When we're inflamed from the standard diet or from our addictions. I'm wondering if it inflamed in our sense of smell is different.
Probably is.
Maybe.
Another thing that gets me here in Miami is the strong perfumes and colognes. Some of those are really, really strong.
Yeah, I used to use aftershave. I used to put a ton of cologne on. I don't even do that. Every now and then I might put 2 squirts of Stetson on, and it's on my shirt. That's about it. But I can't do like I used to. And then of course I don't even have the aftershave. I just use witch hazel for an aftershave is all I use. Because I'm like, I don't know if I want to, we talk about want to stay away from all the chemicals in the foods and stuff and the soaps and stuff. I don't need to have this on my skin, when I shave.
I never even knew the reason why they had aftershave.
That's a good question
Don't
because
ask me.
sometimes it don't even help.
It just seemed like alcohol would burn you, but when I shave, it doesn't bother me because again, good old lard. I got lard all over my face, and I don't get any irritation.
That's the one thing I used to get is quite a bit of irritation, especially when I was a teenager. That's why I used to shave quite a bit, but then I quit shaving, but shaved for a week because I constantly would break out. And maybe that's where I should have learned, okay, maybe I should have got some lard or some tallow back in the days and tried that. But it's much better. I don't know. I even had supposedly, a safer shaving cream versus the regular stuff. And the lard and the tallow was so much better because I got to the point I just do dry shave. I just dry shave. But then when Rick mentioned what, he used lard, I'm like, I think I might just start doing that because it'll be better. Plus, when you shave, you're pushing that into your pores, and so it's much better.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you think about it, lard is actually very similar to the fat that we carry. That the pig fat is similar to human fat, so we're using a product that's very close to what we make. So that's why I never understood why they told me it was so bad. That lard is going to make you have a heart attack, and lard's going to make you break out in pimples, and lard's going to make your hair fall out, and all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's made out of the same stuff that we are.
Well, Rick is a prime example. 40 years, 43, 44 years, and almost 60 years old, and looks not like a day over 30 something, 35, and has more hair color than I do, and I'm 40. I'll be 48.
A lot more than I do.
Yeah, see, the gray is what's hiding the color underneath.
There's no gray in mine. There's a few little blonde hairs, but there's no gray hair yet. I'm sure it'll be coming. The only gray hair that I have, there's a couple of little pieces here and there, and that's about it. Everything else is not gray. I don't know if that's a carnivore diet or if it's genetics, but whatever it is, it's rare because I don't know anyone that's late 50s that has as much dark hair as I do. But you can see even Mitch has a lot of dark hair, and he's almost 80.
Cool.
I can tell you one thing about Mitch versus my dad. My dad
Mitch.
passed away at the same age as Mitch is today. My dad had a stroke due to he had AFib, and but my dad quit. He had COPD, but he quit into cigarettes in time he was diagnosed, so he didn't have that. But he got, he was high acceptable to get the flu. He got pneumonia, and but he looked like he was older. Mitch looks like he's in his early 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another interesting thing.
And my dad, of course, he followed the duck food diet. I'm like, every morning, I remember, when I stayed over during my divorce, when I was separated, in 2016 from the divorce, I was living with him for the time being. And he's like, yeah, I eat this every morning. Doctor says it's a cholesterol buster, and it's oats. And he did quick oats in the microwave. And I'm like, Dad, that stuff's nasty. I couldn't stand it. I mean, I tried every time I ate oats. And I end up doctoring them up. I tried peanut butter. I tried this. I tried that. I even did eggs one time just to kind of get it. I'm like, look, I can't do this stuff. And it looked like slop. And I was like, no, I couldn't do them.
I mean, who would have ever thought that eating bird seed would make a good breakfast?
Kellogg.
Yeah.
Right? Well, wasn't it because they didn't want people to have immoral thoughts?
Well, yeah. That's the thing. And Rick is a prime example. If eating meat gives you immoral thoughts, then why does Rick not have a relationship?
Exactly.
He's perfectly happy being single.
Right.
And I don't feel like I have immoral thoughts. I mean, I mean, spirits, do I have those issues now and then? Yeah, but I don't think about it daily. So it's like, no, me, that's definitely a myth buster.
It's just amazing that myth still exists and people still believe that way. Just like the heart attack myth. You're going to get a heart attack. You're going to get a heart attack. And everyone's still, I know people to this day that said, you need to go to the doctor and get scanned because you could have heart disease and not know it. I said, well, that's good. If I have heart disease and not know it, it'll be surprised when I kick the bucket. And they're like, you got to be kidding me. Because most people that I know, they just want to extend their life as long as possible. I said, what difference does it make? Whether you live 60, 70, 80, 90 years, whatever, you're going to kick the bucket eventually. And then you'll be in somebody else's hands. And what happens to you next is totally out of your control. So what's the big deal about trying to live longer here? And then you feel bad and you got to be on a bunch of medicines and vitamins and all that. And for what? Most of the people I know that lived over 100, there's a few of them, they didn't do any of that stuff. None of them were trying to maximize their lifespan. In fact, they all seem to like bacon and eggs or steak and eggs in the morning.
Yeah, I don't understand that because tomorrow's not promised. The future is not promised. Something can happen. I could go to work tomorrow and and a semi can lose control and cross the median and hit me head on, and I'm gone. I'd rather, if I had one day to live, I'd rather live a good quality life, healthy, eating meat, and enjoying my life than live another 20 or 40 years sitting in my chair in pain, relying on medicine and relying on people helping me. So that's where I'm at.
If we had more people like you, the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
I'd rather live 40 years and be healthy.
There you go.
Yeah.
See? What good is it to be alive if you can't enjoy your life? If you're dependent on other people for everything? That's not living.
No, that's why you have a ton of people in the nursing homes is because of that. And it's just going to progressively, if we don't have a change, it's just going to progressively get worse and worse and worse. And sadly, I will probably, would see my kids in there if, hoping that they would change. But I know my boys, my adopted sons, they're at least live a decent life. Because they're both thin, but if they stay on the standard diet, that they'll eventually catch up. My daughters, I'm hoping, my youngest one of these days would, change, but you can't force the diet on people, but you can be a living example. And she, like today, that's all she had was steak that's all she ate was two pieces of steak. 2 steaks, KC strips, bam, done. And that's all she had. So if you live by example, then everything would be great. And there's the menace, the Milton. The sweet and cuddly menace.
Yeah, a little carnivore. Yep, there goes my menace.
But yeah, I'd rather live that good quality life, knowing that if I go, I go, and not worry about it. Just take one day at a time, because no matter what, I'm still, I was told, when I was growing up, hey, now, you're susceptible to diabetes. Your grandma had diabetes, which she had complications of diabetes when she was pregnant with my aunt, and so I was always told that watch your sugar, watch this stuff, and of course I never got, I never was a pre-diabetic. I never developed heart disease. I was probably heading that way before I stopped it in 2021, but I was. But like now today, this year, because I went to a heart doctor by choice because my dad had AFib and I didn't know how that, affected. I'm sure the way he lived, to smoke cigarettes, drank probably thermoses of coffee, worked 16 hours a day on the railroad, probably part of it, because he did have open heart surgery in 83. He was 44, 45 years old when he had his open bypass. And then, of course, he smoked, and then he also drank. He wasn't alcoholic, but there was a few times when he partied, he got drunk. And, of course, I think part of it is the lifestyle and the standard diet and the stuff that his habits probably caught up. But I wasn't sure. So I went and, I wanted to make sure I was checked out. So I had my first checkup in 2019. And then I end up missing the 2020. So I got another one. But that's when I started the keto, when I started the keto journey. And everything was good. My heart, everything was good. So, he set me up on a 2-year one. So I, went again in 24 and 23 and then 25. He, this is when I was on the carnivore diet and I was already dropped the blood pressure medicine and all that stuff. And of course, he said something about, wanted to do an echocardiogram because he said felt something, abnormal. And I said, well, if it is, it's not from this diet. It's probably from, past. So better go check it out. Went, had that done, and I had the results. It was good. But like this year, where I normally go, it's called the Missouri Heart Center. They had a conflict with the hospital and they closed. They ended up closing the office down. So I'm like, Mom said, well, I'm like, I'm not going back. I feel good. Why do I need to go back? I know if I start feeling shortness of breath, something's not right. You call 911, get me to the hospital. Other than that, I'm going on how I feel. I feel great. Why do I need to go back? Because, I thought about getting the CAC score and I'm thinking, no, I don't, why bother? Because if I do have a calcium score, it was probably from my past. So why bother? If I feel great, why do I need to go spend $100 to have this test done? Why do I need to go, get a new heart doctor if I feel good? I'm going to get ready to reduce. I want to see my physician, but I'm going to go on as needed basis with my current primary care physician, which I really like him because he's really good. And when he noticed that I lost weight and starting to feel better in 2024, he says, whatever you're doing, just keep on doing it because if it's working for you, that's good. Because he noticing a difference. And I'm like, and I, if I don't, because I want to go and let him know, hey, I haven't took this blood pressure medicine. I'm good. I just want to be off of it. And then I said, I'll just check it. And then from there, I'm not even going to go unless I absolutely need it because where do you go? He will, check up every 6 months, once a year, have blood tests to see my numbers. Big deal. I'm going on how I feel.
And then if you had the CAC and they did find some, what can you do about it? You won't go away.
There's nothing I can do about it. And some people have been on Carnivore where they had a high CAC score that they end up later on, the CAC score went down. So,
wow.
I mean, yeah, if I have some kind of scoring, I'm like, what's the big deal? I mean, if there's something there, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to go change the way I eat. I feel great. So I'm like, well, I'll just be like Rick. I'll just wait for that heart attack to come.
There you go. I guess we're all waiting for that. See if it comes.
Yep. I'm still making a joke out of it.
Yeah, that's one thing about it is it's like, yep. It's a big one, Elizabeth. No, false alarm. Oh, we have a question here for Rick.
That?
Rick, what does the homemade soap smell like?
Well, it smells like soap. How can I describe it? I don't know. I'll think about basically what does lard smell like in the refrigerator, and it's something like that. Not much of any, really.
Yeah.
Unless you put some kind of scented oils in there. Other than that, it just smells unscented. Like the beast mode soap. I get the unscented kind, and it's like there's not really a smell to it. Kind of smells like tallow a little bit, but not really strong. And I mean, like tallow I have has a little, it's not as strong smell, but it's you can smell the tallow more than you could
Tallow
the
you
soap.
Right. That's right.
And it sets up hard like soap, like
Yeah,
a bar of soap.
exactly.
Cool. Where do you get lye?
You can get it online through Amazon. I've seen it there.
Yeah, like if you're making biodiesel, there's a biodiesel supply online you can get it from.
Okay.
They used to have it in the store. They used to sell it for cleaning drains. But I don't know why they stopped
Oh
selling
yeah,
it.
I remember seeing that. I remember that.
I can get, I get that.
And it's the same stuff.
Yep. Yeah, they had a can. It used to say Red Devil Lye. It was in every kitchen, but I don't think they make that anymore.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was growing up. I also remember seeing it on
Yeah.
the shelf when I worked at the grocery store in the 90s. And then they do have this stuff that I can go to Plum Supply, and they have two different brands. There's one brand called Thrift that I used to use. You had to be careful with the hot water because I used to use that to clean out some of the drains in the cast. Depends on what the drain. You want to be very careful, but I've been replacing a lot of the drains at work with, getting the can traps out and getting the old drains out and putting drains, new PVC drains all the way to the main stack in. But I used to use it called Thrift, and it was activated by hot water.
Oh.
Yeah, the other thing is a lot of the old, and I do this once in a while, I was working on it yesterday. A lot of the old plumbing had cast iron for the main pipe, and then they use copper for the ones that go to the sink. And they used to sell what they call hot power drain cleaner. Well, that's based on sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid will dissolve copper. So you never want to put any of that stuff in there. But the lye is perfectly safe because it doesn't hurt the pipes. Now, the only thing that it can do, it reacts pretty strongly with water. So if you dump that in there and there's no water in there and you pour it in and you happen to have a PVC pipe, it can actually like soften that and cause it to either expand or contract. And I've had to replace pipes where they put that lye in there. Sometimes they'll even form a plug. If you dump too much of it in there and it reacts, it like hardens into a rock, and then you have to knock it out with a snake or something.
Yeah, I learned that real quick because the way they did the plumbing back in the 60s on the building I work on, like the first floor on most of the buildings, you can easily snake it. Even if I, because a lot of times when I do pull the tub and replace the drain, I can run that snake right through and I can get right to the main. But two of the buildings, the second and third floor, you actually had to I have an access panel. I have to drop one of the drains and actually go through to get the snake because a lot of times it's right in the middle. They come together in the middle and go down. But I did that one time. I did that lye. And the next thing I know, someone said, "Yeah, I got a water leak in the ceiling." And it was one of the Schedule 40, and it was not a glue. It was the screw kind. You put it together with, like a nut, and it softened. And I'm like, nope, we're not doing this no more. The only time the lye goes in is only in cast iron only. That's it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, ever since I replaced a lot of those drains, they have gone. I hadn't had hardly any tub drain issues at all. Maybe every now and then I have a slow drain, but a lot of times it's right there where someone put a service request in and said, "My drain's not draining very well." Well, clean out the hair wad out of your drain right here where it's all caught. You're good to go.
That's it.
And then, of course, Friday evening, I had to replace, we thought it was a toilet leaking, but come to find out, they still had the drip. And I went in Friday evening and come to find out it was the upstairs kitchen drain had a hole in it in the wall going where it meets the bathroom drain. So I'm like, "Oh, I'll fix you up here about 10 minutes." Because it was really easy. They already had they had a hole already there in the wall. So all I had to do was shine the light as soon as I saw the water. So I made a little bigger hole and took my Sawzall, cut it in, and I just use a Fernco boot. So now those, if they have a kitchen and bath drain at work, if they both back up because they meet in the middle, I have an access point that I can drop that drain and I can drop the snake right there and down, and I can get the claw. So yeah, I make it easy. Like, it took me longer to drive in than actually find and do the actual job.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing how you open up a wall and you see how these plumbers, right? Because some of them I was like, okay, they're pretty smart, and then the other times I'm like, why did you run the copper this close? And I need to get in my cut, because I have a quick cut that I can get in there, but it's like sometimes it's even hard to get.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's right there up against the stud. I've seen some really weird stuff.
I think one of my goals that I want to do at work for 2027, I'm going to put on the CapEx's ears, is to put a budget to get us some pressure reducing valves, because the pressure in our apartment buildings are way too high, and it needs to be reduced. Because I think a lot of times if they reduce it enough, it would eliminate a lot of the copper pipe leaks and stuff like that. And I know, like the other day, I had a service request, so I went up there to the apartment. They said that it was leaking from the valve, so I'm tightening the pack nut. I'm like, why is it making it dripping even worse? And so I'm like, I'm gonna have to change out this supply line shut off, or the angle stop. Next thing you know, I accidentally hit the toilet supply line, and it was broke. It came from there, and I'm like, well, I found the leak. Well, I'm glad that this thing didn't break, because it would have been a disaster. But the water pressure came out. Yeah, I had a nice bath.
I've had jobs where I felt like the Three Stooges. You go to change a valve, the thing breaks off, and water's shooting in your face.
That's exactly what happened to me. That sucker popped and went back and shot me in the face, and it's like, shut it off real fast, because that was some pressure now. I mean, I have like 50 or 60 psi of pressure at my house, but they got over 100 or 120, wow. And it's like, we got to get some pressure reducing valves put on these buildings so we can reduce. Because I think the biggest problem we have with ours, if we get a pinhole in a copper, is I think it's just too much high pressure.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Another thing that can happen, if you get that much pressure, it'll push the air, it'll compress the air in the water columns, and then you get all that water hammer when somebody opens the faucet the wrong way. It'll go brrr. I've seen several buildings like that.
Let's see. Uncle Charlie stopped by, says, hello, my brothers and sisters. What a great day in God's paradise. It is. Hi, Uncle Charlie.
Hi, Uncle Charlie.
And then Robin came in, said, I swear I'm allergic to 2 cigars today. And then we have Carnivore Ron. You're welcome. Aaron, the Carnivore guy, came in. Welcome. Then we have DS111, welcome to the channel.
Oh my God.
There's a new one. Moses McConaughey. Well, welcome. Carnivore equals cancer, cruelty. Oh, yeah. That's a myth.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah. Always got those lurking around.
Milton, don't do that. Milton.
Let's see. We got Ivy come in. Hi, Ivy. Welcome. I know last weekend, I believe it was last weekend, they had over a foot of rain fell overnight in the southeast Missouri area. Of course, now Texas is getting hammered hard.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm not. I'm just looking at the
Okay.
comments,
Good.
see if there's any questions. And Uncle Charlie says, this is a question for Donna. How many times a day does Donna Ray eat, and what does she eat? Thanks.
Well, I eat twice a day, and for breakfast, I almost always have bacon. Like we go out because we're in a small town, and that's where we see all our friends and socialize at breakfast. So I have a double order of bacon for breakfast. Then I eat again at 2:30, and it's usually some kind of meat. Today I had pulled pork scrambled with eggs. Actually, I had the same thing yesterday because I liked it so much. I had it again today. But it's always some kind of meat at 2:30, and then that's all I don't eat after that. So 2 times a day.
And then Sandy stopped by. Sandy's here. Says hi, Kelly and Kelly, Donna, and Cat Daddy.
Hi, Sandy.
Let's see
Wow,
if there's
sounds like a
anybody
lot of
else.
people here.
Milton. What are you, Milton? No. Milton.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ow.
What?
Bad
I
kitty.
heard Milton.
Oh, yeah. He's doing something.
Ow, ow. Stop it. No.
I hope
Ow.
Rick's going to be okay.
Yeah, Garrick's in the dark. I'll shut the lights off. Let's just go. And then Lizzie says, Q, do we stay high fat on keto? I think it'd be good.
Yeah, high fat's always good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like now I haven't, like, I used to, when I have steaks and stuff like that, I usually have I used to add butter to it, ate a lot of butter. Now I cook more with butter with my eggs and stuff, or if I have like a carnivore bread or chaffles where I want butter, that's about the only time I eat butter. But I don't add much extra fat to my steaks or anything like that anymore. I just use what's there.
Yeah, me too. I eat the fat that's on the steak and don't add any more normally.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. Going into the grocery stores, and it's really sad to go in, and it's like, oh, why'd you cut the fat off of this ribeye? You just runt the steak. That's the best part of it.
One time I
That's
made a
why
brisket and there was no fat on it, and I had to just add it while I was cooking it in the slow cooker. I just added a whole bunch of bacon fat so it could cook better. It could have some fat in it. It was no fat. They cut it off, I guess. Who else is here? I can't see the chat.
let's see. I know there's Kurt. Kurt was here. Danny in Boston is here. And see, Kurt says, done vacuum sealing my beef I bought last month. Oh, here we go. Here's someone here. Okay, I met this one last year. It says Belligan. Said, hi, Kelly. We met in Montello. Good to see you. Yeah, I remember her. We met. That's when I met Jerry, too, in Montello, Wisconsin. Met in person. Let's see if any, because we got, usually I keep, well, nope, I'm at the end of the comments there.
Oh, man.
So, all right. Well, I think we'll wrap this up. And Donna Ray, I'm glad Rick stopped by. And Donna Ray, glad you stopped by in today. And I will be back next Sunday, July 26th, which it will be my 2-year carniversary. 2 years.
Yay,
I made that wise decision, or that crucial decision, to go on a carnivore diet. My next long form video, I'm actually going to make the exact meal that I started on carnivore, that I was debunking it and it debunked me. And that was when of course, the first meal was burger patties from McDonald's. And the second meal is when I got home, I was like, okay, because I was feeling a little bit better because I was hurting. I was going to go home that day. And I decided in apartment, I decided to make that decision. Well, you know what? I'm going to take it one day at a time and I'm going to give this carnivore a try. But I know I was to the point where it was more or less I was getting depressed because I felt hopeless. I felt that this pain was miserable, but also I was like doing strict keto, clean keto, and I was gaining weight. I got up to 340. Like, you think eating, a strict keto, clean keto diet, you would lose the weight or the weight. No,
Yeah.
I was gaining weight. And that's why I decided, okay, I'll give this carnivore diet a try. But I think it's crazy eating just meat. I know I'll gain weight. So when I got home that night, I had 2.5 pounds of ground beef, 6 eggs, and a half a pound of bacon. I ate every bit of it. I was stuffed. But I was like, yeah, I'll gain weight. But the next day I got on the scale. I'm like, wow, I lost 4 pounds. There's no way I lost 4
Nice.
pounds. So I'm like, well, I'll give it another day. All I had was that day the exact same meal, 2.5 pounds of ground beef, 6 eggs, half a pound of bacon. And it just kept on going. And then here I am 2 years later, feeling great. Even though that same meal, I wouldn't eat that twice a day, but I usually split it up, but still, I'm here. I feel great. And, I'm not going to change this way of eating. They'll have to take it away. And I think I'll just hunt my meals.
I'm
So,
about 3 months ahead of you. I got my 2 years and 3 months anniversary next week, the day after yours, after your second anniversary. And yeah,
yeah.
I'm not looking back. No.
All
Right on
right,
$1 for every
everybody.
pound of bacon.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We're gonna call it quits. I'm glad everybody stopped by today. Make sure you tune in next Sunday, July 26th, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. And I will have an open panel because it is a celebration, and I want to celebrate with everybody, with my great friends here in the carnivore community, in the keto carnivore community. So, like I end my videos, like always, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. You all have a great day. God bless. And I'm going to add this, like everybody says, for heaven's sakes, eat the meat.
And don't let the
Bye,
muggles get you
everyone.
down. Bye-bye. See you later, everyone. Thanks.